Hi boys and girls, welcome to Everyday Math Lesson 9.5, Measuring Longer Distances. The materials that you'll need today, notebook paper, pencil, math journal, your template, and then MathMaster 9.5. If you don't have this page, that's okay. Still follow along with the lesson, and you could write down your answers in either a notebook or on a whiteboard. Let's get started. The first thing that we'll do is go over our math boxes from the previous lesson. So if you can open up your math journal to page 217. If you're noticing that you have any mistakes, please fix those with your pencil and eraser. So for our first question, fill in the missing numbers. They gave us 1,789, so we know one more would be 1,790. They gave me 1,799. I know one more would be 1,800. Then I could think 10 more than that would be 1,810, and then one less would be 1,809 and 1,808. For question 2, draw a line segment that is 3.5 inches long, and then draw a line segment that is 1 inch shorter. So your second line segment should be 2.5 inches long. And I'll see if I can show you mine. You can see how I line up my 0 and my 2, and it's right at 2.5, so right in between 2 and 3. For question 3, the Jays scored 63 points, the Gulls scored 46 points. How many points did the Jays score? So I have my 63 and my 46, and I'm subtracting to find 17 as my difference. For question 4, what is the chance that you will fly in a spaceship today? And that would be impossible. For question 5, 9 cars, each has 4 tires. How many tires in all? So you can fill in your diagram. We have our 9 and 4, and when we're multiplying 9 times 4, we would get 36. For question 6, use pennies, nickels, dimes, or quarters to show $1.79. There's more than just this way to show it, but this is the way that I picked today. So I first started with 4 quarters to show my dollar. Then I continued with my quarters. I had 3 more, so I have $1.75, and then my pennies. So I would have 76, 77, 78, 79, $1.79. So double check to make sure you have your page correct before moving on to the next part of the lesson. For the next part of the lesson, if you could use either notebook paper or whiteboard and marker if available to write down your answers from the next slides. If the speed is too fast, pause as often as needed. So for our first question, we have 6 children and they ate pepperoni pizza. That is half of all the children that ate the pizza. So how many children ate the pizza? Press pause and play when you're ready to check. So if I'm thinking of 6 is half, so I need to think 6 plus 6 to give me a total of 12 children. There were 24 books. 4 children got 1/4 of the books. So how many books did each child get? Press pause and play when you're ready to check. So I'm thinking 24 divided by 4, or splitting 24 into 4 equal pieces, and each child would get 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 12 is equal to 24. For our last question, 9 baseball cards. Josh took 1/3 of the baseball cards. So how many cards did Josh get? Press pause. So if I'm thinking about 9 divided by 3, or 9 split into 3 equal groups, Josh got 3 cards. For the next part of the lesson, we're going to be talking about distances and longer distances today. So 1 kilometer is the same thing as saying 1,000 meters. 1 mile is the same thing as saying 1,760 yards, or 5,280 feet. So 1 kilometer is 6/10 of a mile. So if this is my line for a mile, so a little bit more than half, this would be my line for the kilometer, 6/10 of a mile. So now let's use what we know, and we'll put our notebook or our whiteboard to the side, and we'll take a look at that MathMaster 9.5 page. That looks like this. So all of the items below may be measured with any of the given units. Some units are better for measuring short distances, and some units are better for measuring long distances. Decide which unit is best for each situation. Circle the unit that you would use to measure each of them. So when you're looking at number 1, the distance from Orlando, Florida to Boston, Massachusetts, what do you think would be best? Inch, foot, or mile? What would you use to measure that? And circle your answer. Then can you read the next 6 or the next 5 questions to decide which would be the best? Why don't you press pause to solve and then play when you're ready to check. So the distance from Orlando, Florida to Boston, Massachusetts, we would want to measure that in miles. So I circled the word mile. The length of a paperclip. And if I'm about to reveal an answer before you've solved, press pause as often as needed, but you would want to use a centimeter for that. The height of your teacher, you would measure with a foot. The perimeter of your bedroom, you would measure in meters. The width of a deck of cards, you would measure in inches. The length of a bus, you would measure in feet. So double check to make sure you had your page correct before moving on to the next part of the lesson. The next part of the lesson, we're going to take a look at page 219, where we're making ballpark estimates and solving for both addition and subtraction. So when we get a problem like 45 plus 68, I want you to first round to the nearest 10, and then if you can solve for the actual answer. If you need to stack them, like how I did here, please use the space to do so. Now, when you're getting a problem that has the hundreds, again, I want you to try to get your estimate to the nearest 10. So if I have 143, I need to think, is this closer to 140 or closer to 150? So why don't you press pause to solve as many of these problems as you can, and then press play when you're ready to check. All right, and if I'm about to reveal an answer before you have solved, just press pause as often as you need to. So we'll take a look at number 1 first. So I know that 45 would round to 50, and I know that 68 is going to round to 70. 50 plus 70 equals 120. Now for solving my actual, so I'm going to start with 5 plus 8, which I know is 13. Notice how I carry my 1, I put my 3 below. And then I'm adding 6 plus 4 plus 1, which is 11, for a total of 113. For number 2, so I rounded 143 to 140. Then I rounded 78 to 80. So I can think 140 plus 80, well, I know that 140 plus 60 would bring me to 200, and then I still have 20 left over. So my ballpark estimate is 220. Then when I'm solving, I stack them on the side, so I have 8 plus 3, which I know is 11. I carried my 1, put my 1 below. Then 7 plus 4 plus 1 was 12. I carried my 1, put my 2 below. And then 1 plus 1 to get me 2, for a total of 221. For number 3, 158, I rounded to 160. 233, I rounded to 230 for my ballpark estimate of 390. And then when I'm solving, I know that 8 plus 3 is 11. I carried my 1, put my 1 below. 3 plus 5 plus 1 is 9. And then I just have, oops, I did not need to have that little one there. I'll take that off. And then I have my 1 plus 2, which brought me to 3, giving me my total of 391. Now for number 4, we're switching to subtraction. So I have 74, which I rounded to 70, 49, which I rounded to 50, 70 minus 50 equals 20, and then I stacked them on the side. So I can't take 4 minus 9, so I changed that 7 to a 6, 14 minus 9 I know is 5, and then 6 minus 4 is 2, for an answer of 25. For number 5, so 133, I rounded that to 130. 86 I rounded to 90. 130 minus 90 is 40. And then when I'm solving this one got a little bit trickier. So I wrote down 133 minus 86. So I can't take 3 minus 6. So I went next door. I changed that 3 first to just a 2. Then I have 13 minus 6, which I know is 7. Now I couldn't do 2 minus 8, so I needed to go next door again. I changed this 1 to a 0, and now instead of a 2, this becomes a 12. Now I have 12 minus 8, which is 4, giving me my answer of 47. And for our last problem, we have 256, which I rounded to 260. 147 rounds to 150 for a ballpark estimate of 110. And I have 256. I couldn't subtract 6 minus 7, so I went next door. I changed my 5 to a 4. My 6 becomes a 16. 16 minus 7 is 9. 4 minus 4 is 0. And then 2 minus 1 is 1, for a total of 109. So double check to make sure you have yours right before moving on to math boxes. Our math box page is 220. I'll quickly talk about the directions and I'll ask that you complete this page on your own. When you're all done, if you can take a picture, add it to Seesaw. We will go over this page in our next video. For question 5, write 5 names for halves. You can either draw a picture of things that look like half, or you could think of fractions that are the same as half. For question 2, write even or odd for each of these numbers. For question 3, 17 pieces of gum are shared equally. Each child gets 3 pieces. So how many children are sharing and how many pieces are left over? For question 4, Rosita has 39 cents and found 57 cents more. How much does she have now? Estimate your answer, and then you can use whichever way you'd like to solve the actual answer. For question 5, in Pensacola, Florida, the temperature is 82 degrees. In Portland, Maine, the temperature is 64 degrees. What is the difference? Fill in the circle next to your answer, and again, you might want to stack them on the side to solve. For question 6, a number has 7 thousands, 8 tens, 5 ten thousands, 1 one, and 0 hundreds, so write down that number. All right, I'll see you next time.